Locho sambo pagyo trashi pa tuche tempe tinle yarngoda pelge drolor zambe zeparche palden lame shabla solvade Omo a guru vajra dara suma timo nisha sane karm Uta vardanya shri bara varsa manya sarva siddhi hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karm Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karm Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Kar Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karm Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karm Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karm Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dar Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karm Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dar Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Om Guru Vajra Dar Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Om Pakyuke kudan dagi lo, pakyuke sundan dagi nga, pakyuke tukdan dagi yi, ten yerme chiktu jingi lo. Makyuke kudan dagi lo, makyuke sundan dagi nga, makyuke tukdan dagi yi, ten yerme chiktu jingi lo. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Swaha Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Swaha Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Swaha. Sangye chedan tsoge chanamla chancho pardo dani kyapsu chim Dagi jinso gibe sonamgi drola pinchre sange druparesho sange chedan tsogi chonamla chancho pardo dani kyapsu chi Dagi jinso gibe sonamgi drola pinchre sange druparesho Sangye chedan tsogi chonamla chancho pardo dani kyapsu chi dagi jinso gibe sonamgi penchira sangye druparasho. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Do gyache robale. Sabshi tudrawe sa dumache, duzi tabu chushi kuwanye, sula shekyan kowar minupe, mime nagi tsaltu nevercha. Profound and peaceful, free of elaborations, as clear light and non-composed. Such a nectar I have found. To whomever I may explain will not be able to understand it. So I remain by myself in the forest where there is no one. As Rinpoche transmitted yesterday, these were the first words that Buddha said just after he reached enlightenment. And as we saw yesterday, these words refer precisely to emptiness, to this state of non-duality in which one can experience the true nature of reality. And actually, it is said, "This such a nectar I have found." And when we refer to nectar, it means something that can eliminate all sufferings, in this case. And actually, all the teachings are very important. All the part of the conduct, which is developing patience and generosity and morality, and developing joyful effort, and having many, many aspects, taking refuge, understanding the law of karma. All of this is extremely important. But, as was said in by Shantideva in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, let's see if I remember the verse in Tibetan. Which means all these branches were taught by Buddha in order to show wisdom. Which means it's like if all the branches, which is like developing generosity, accumulating merits, purifying our negativities, having morality, developing joyful effort, all of this and much more, everything that is part of the conduct, it's very important. But this was all taught and practiced in order to be a support for us to realize the true nature of reality. Once we are able to realize the true nature of reality, this is like the key to eliminate all suffering and to develop a state of true inner peace. So even from the point of view of generating positive energy, it is said in some texts that says like, one instant of meditation on the true nature of reality, one moment of reflection and understanding and meditation on the true nature of reality, which means emptiness, accumulates more merit, which means generate more positive energy, than making offerings to all Buddhas, as many offerings as there are grains of sand in the Ganges River. How many grains of sand there are in the Ganges River? Millions and billions, I don't know, so many. It says that if we make one moment of really reflecting correctly upon the true nature of reality, it generates more positive energy than making offerings to all the Buddhas as many times as all the the grains of sand as there are in the Ganges River. Which this doesn't mean that making offerings is a small positive energy, it's very big. But this means that meditating on the true nature of reality is even much more powerful and much more important. So, because it is actually something so important, for example, we can practice patience as much as we may like. And we may be able to remain in a state where we are not anymore reacting with anger. That's wonderful. But until the moment that I don't realize the emptiness of the object of anger, until the moment that I do not eliminate the grasping at the object of anger as being inherently existent as an object of anger, when I stop making the effort to be patient, anger will come back again. So, even in relation to our almost common mental defilements, the way how to cut our mental defilements from its deep root is through the realization, non-conceptually, which starts through a conceptual understanding of the true nature of reality, of emptiness, shunyata. So, it is something extremely important. It's not like secondary, maybe some. No, it is very, very, very important. It's essential. And there cannot be two ways of realizing emptiness. There cannot be two emptiness. There is one emptiness for the Gelupa, one emptiness for the Nyingmapa, one emptiness for the Kargyupa, one emptiness for the Tsongkhapa. Then there is one emptiness of the Buddhist, one other emptiness for the Christians, one for the Zen, one for the Tibetan, I don't know, okay? It's not like that. There can be many different explanations, but the true nature of reality is one. It cannot be many. We can use different words, and that's fine. We can have different approaches, and that's wonderful. But when we analyze it clearly, we should get to the same point. True nature of reality is one. So what Lama Tsongkhapa is doing in this text is actually bringing us to reflect upon, okay, what is the true nature of reality, and what are the ways that have been used by many during these centuries to analyze the true nature of reality, which are not really coherent and are not really correct. This is something that it's very important for us to do this analysis, because otherwise we may think, okay, no, but I am Gelupa, so I meditate in that way, I am Nyingmapa going the other way, I am Tsongkhapa going the other way. These are just names of traditions inside Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism. But the fact is not which tradition I am part of. The fact is, I need to analyze and meditate on the true nature of reality, which is having an understanding and a perception which is totally, purely coherent with reality. How difficult is to get that? Quite difficult. It's not for no reason that for centuries this has been one of the main points of discussion between many masters of different traditions. I've got, like in Tibet, there is a history of debates about this and like a long process. But I believe it's very important to open this debate, to bring it back to us, and not just, okay, I follow because so was said. We need to use our understanding, check it well. No? As Lama Tsongkhapa was saying, we were reading yesterday, it's important that we follow a tradition that has been tested and proved somehow. Like, okay, I don't have enough knowledge to know if it's right or wrong from the very beginning. But have there been anyone on this same path that have followed the same advices and the same instructions that have had a good result? If yes, okay, that's already something, no? Because if there came many before me that did exactly the same thing and they had good results, will I try it? Yes. It's like I go to one doctor, and this doctor was able to cure many patients, and they had the same sickness as I do. Do I have some more trust on him? Then I go to another doctor. He makes a beautiful publicity. Nice, beautiful publicity, telling of many miracles and incredible curing, and use many nice techniques of communication and this and that. But I go to check, I don't know anyone who has really been cured through that method. Which one shall I follow? The one that someone was cured about it, even though he may not have the best marketing, but at least I know that there were people that were cured by it. Okay? Similar to that, when we look to our own spiritual path, the lineage is so important because it's also the way of proving to us that it actually works. Because there is my guru, the guru of my guru, many, many practitioners through the centuries that came that were following exactly the same instructions and exactly the same teachings. And it worked very well for them. That's why also it's important, it's something that we don't do so much, but it's something that is very important. It's also to read the lives of the masters. We call in Tibetan Lamring Gyube Namdar, which means the lives of the lineage gurus of the gradual path of enlightenment. Because by reading their lives, it's very inspiring because we see they also had difficulties, they also have their conflicts, but they follow the same advice and instructions that we are having now, and they were able to overcome all of this. So, I can also do it. So this validates the method, first thing. So first thing is important to follow something that has been tested and validated from century to century up to now. Okay. Second thing, once we have a method that is coming from a pure source, such as Buddha Shakyamuni, and has been validated from centuries to centuries, at the same time, we still need to analyze and we still need to reach our own understanding. Because the process is listening, comprehending, and then meditating. In order for me to familiarize myself with something, I must first understand it. And for me to understand, I must grab it. And for me to grab at it, I need to understand it. I need to make that knowledge my own knowledge and not just a repetition of something that someone said. And here come the analysis. And this is why it's so important also for us to analyze the teachings and check, is it really like that? Maybe I think that phenomena do exist objectively, do exist inherently. Why not? Let's look for it. Please do it. It's very important that we need to do our own analysis so that we get to the final result which is coherent with what Buddha said. And we say, then we really develop faith and say, oh, how wonderful, look, Buddha, you really put so much clear, you opened my mind. Look, Lama Tsongkhapa, thank you. Because then it opens our mind. It's like then it becomes one of my teachers, Kajen Losang Rinpoche, the abbot of Tashilumpo, who gave me the transmission on this text. Every time he talks about Lama Tsongkhapa, he starts crying, like a child. And it's because he has seen the greatness of Lama Tsongkhapa through his texts. And he feels such deep gratitude. So whenever he talks about how kind Lama Tsongkhapa is to him, because open his mind and so on, he starts crying. There he is, this very strong old man of 80 or something years old. And then when he starts crying, suddenly you see that it's like, he stopped talking, and then you see there he's like really crying a lot. No, it's not like just a little tear coming; he's really crying. No, and this is not so common when you go to a Tibetan monastery. And but this is because he has this strong connection, which comes out of understanding the teachings and developing such gratitude. When we read the texts of Lama Tsongkhapa, personally, then we can really understand because how grateful he was for all of us. He still is for all of us. Anyhow, the fact is that we need to follow a path that has been proven, and we need to analyze it and understand it also. And then we need to practice it ourselves. It doesn't matter whatever name we may give to it. Okay? So this is just the point where we have reached of the text. And the main thing is understanding the true nature of reality. Does it take time to change our paradigm and change the way how we see reality? Yes, it may take lives. Not one or two. It may take different lifetimes. For example, in the text by Chandrakirti, which is called Umajukpa, he explains when is someone ready to understand emptiness, to receive the teachings about emptiness. And he describes that when does a person have the seed within his mind stream to meditate and to realize emptiness? It is when this person, by listening to the meaning of emptiness, if the person gets deeply emotioned, like developing a great joy, and then having, how do you say in English, goosebumps, and then having also, and crying and having tears coming out and crying of joy because listening to emptiness, and it's like, wow, it's like something that deeply touches us. This means we have already the imprints for realizing emptiness. And it's something like, for me, sincerely, when we are really able to somehow touch the meaning of emptiness just for one instant, it's so beautiful. It's so touching, so special. So this is like when we have this moment. So maybe we still need to develop. Maybe we need to meditate more and more. Most probably, we need to familiarize ourselves more and more, which causes a gradual process. It's not going to take 1 year or 2 years or 10 years. It's going to take maybe 1 life or 2 lives or 5 lives, whoever knows what. But it doesn't matter. The important thing is not to have hurry to reach the result. The important thing is to constantly walk forwards. This is the important thing. So gradually, we open our heart, because we always need to develop together love and wisdom. The two need to go together as we develop love and we develop wisdom. Because without the love, we will not have even the strength to realize wisdom. And we don't have the merits, the energy, the strength to realize wisdom. So the two things need to go always together. Wisdom and love. That's the main thing. Okay? So here, Lama Tsongkhapa, in the first part of the text, he talked about developing love and the whole part of conduct. Then there is a beautiful part about meditation. And now we are in the conclusion of the text, in the part where it was just ending the part where he was talking about the correct view of reality, okay, which is really, really important. So the main point, just concluding this first introduction, is we must search for truth. Not just accept anything that is given to us. We must search for truth. We must search for what is the actual true nature of reality. What is the paradigm in which we may live that is coherent with reality, that generates a state of peace and joy? This is the main point. Okay. Remember, the religion, the tradition, is just a method for something much deeper we need to realize, which is our path to enlightenment. So it doesn't matter what tradition we are part, what name we give, how we are dressed, whatever, If we want to dress ourselves as Mickey and Minnie, and we make a new tradition, okay, that's wonderful, as long as we are developing love and wisdom. It's no problem, okay? This is not the point. The point is really developing wisdom and love. Otherwise, the rest, who cares, sincerely? Okay, maybe one is more nice, the other one is not so nice. This is just our own projection. But the main objective is to develop love and wisdom. All right. So, let's go back to the text. Okay, yesterday we read already the question number 56, and where Lama Tsongkhapa was stating different types of wrong views of emptiness and wrong ways of meditating on emptiness. But I would like to take back from, let's see from where exactly. Okay, let's take here from page number 66, the end of it, as it says. This means, it would be better if one took the valid statement from Sutra, Tantra, and commentaries as a witness or the supportive scriptural authority. On that basis, one can then check why such a feasible or unfeasible why such is feasible or unfeasible through one's own intelligent reasoning to see. So, as we just said, first we need to have reference to teachings which have been used for centuries and centuries and have been of benefit for others. So then, after we need to check and analyze to ourselves, is it correct, is it not correct by our own self? But in this context, what Lama Tsongkhapa is saying is, look, from all the statements that I have just said before, regarding the ways of meditating on the true nature of reality, I don't want to say what is right and what is wrong. It needs to be coherent with Buddha teachings, and you need to analyze it to see if it is coherent logically or not. If it is, wonderful. If it's not, better change. Okay? So the questions that come out are, is there a difference between emptiness and Dharmakaya? Okay? And what is the criteria of seeing a Dharmakaya? Because there are different Dharmakaya, as we said. We call it the body of truth, or the body of the essence, which basically means the very subtle mind of a Buddha. Okay? It's a very subtle mind, free from all sorts of ignorance and the stains of ignorance. But there is a difference between Dharmakaya and emptiness. We already saw this a few days ago. Okay? But some people in some traditions, they say, oh, you can, when you look at your own mind, you end up seeing Dharmakaya. It's like, if you look deeply within yourself, you will see your pure nature, and that's your Dharmakaya. And what Lama Tsongkhapa was stating is that this is not really correct, because we don't have Dharmakaya, no? If we had Dharmakaya, then we would all be a Buddha. And if we maybe you are all Buddhas here helping me to try to reach enlightenment myself, I don't know, but I can tell you I am not. We never know who we have in front of us, huh? But the fact is that I know by myself I am not a Buddha. And if I would be a Buddha, then we really are in trouble. Because I hope a Buddha is something quite much better than what I am. Okay? So basically, the fact is that if I have Dharmakaya, then necessarily I need to be a Buddha. But if we call Dharmakaya the root, the causes to develop Dharmakaya, then it's fine. This was what was explained before, no? So, please analyze and understand yourself, Lama Tsongkhapa says. Is there any difference between emptiness and Dharmakaya? And what do we mean by looking at the Dharmakaya? Okay? So basically, yes, there is a big difference. And what we can see is the pure nature of our mind, which is the basis for developing Dharmakaya, that in some contexts can be called Dharmakaya because it's the cause to develop this state of enlightenment. If both Mahamudra and the 6 preparations, Jorwa Yanla Druk, are taught as an indifferent guiding commentary in the profound Tantra set. Let me just try to check the Tibetan, what it's meant by this word indifferent. 1 second, eh? Tompada chokola ke duk choko tongwe tsamgas chakchen dan jordruk ni ka gyude samu namne tartu gitritus kebar mebar eduk. Chakchen dan jordruk ni ka gyude samu namnes tartu gitritu kebar mebar esum. Suna tawa ke ongyur duga miduk. If both Mahamudra and the 6 preparations are taught as an indifferent guiding commentary. No, this is a bit strange. Huh? This is not correct. in the profound Tantra set, which is basically saying if both Mahamudra and the 6 preparations if it's thought to have any difference between both of them as being an ultimate guide to enlightenment. This is what is said here in Tibetan, because it says here, where were we? Here. Chakchen dar jodu niga gyude sabo namnes, from the deep and profound tantras, the Mahamudra and the 6 preparations, tartu gichitu kebar meba erdu, as a final explanation and as an ultimate guidance to enlightenment. Is any difference between any of them? If we go deeper in a deeper level between Mahamudra and the 6 perfections, is any difference between them? If there is a difference of view or not, then here it continues. If there is a difference of view or not, if they are taught as an indifferent guiding commentary. I don't know what here means by an indifferent guiding commentary. Basically, the question is there any difference from the point of view of the view in Mahamudra and the 6 preparations? Mahamudra and the 6 preparations are basically 2 techniques of meditation, which go very, very deep and to realize the true nature of reality. Mahamudra, it has many different forms of Mahamudra, but in a more simple way, Mahamudra is the meditation of the emptiness of the mind. It's where you meditate on the true nature of reality, where the object of meditation is the actual mind itself. Okay? But the fact here is that if whatever practices we can take also from the Vajrayana path, from the Tantra, it can be Mahamudra, it can be Jordruk, Yaladruk, which means the 6 branches of preparation. It can be any practice. Emptiness is always emptiness. It's not like a difference from one to the other. Because some people said that. That's why it's being asked here. Especially if there is a difference between the mind and its mode of abundance or not. Kebar to sem dida, sem ginelula, kebar edu. Nelu tompa nikyan, solo kandra shik gobar dugnams. Kebar to sem dida. When it says here, especially, where were we? D. Especially if there is a difference between this mind and its mode of abundance. Not here when it said the mind here is called semdi. Semdi means this mind, which refers, I suppose, to just the part which came before, which refers to the mind that realizes the true nature of reality, which we're referring to Mahamudra before. So, is there any difference between this mind and the nature of the mind? Yes or no? Actually, yes. Is there a difference between the mind that realizes emptiness and emptiness itself? There is a difference. Okay? Some people say there is no difference. There are some traditions and some people that say, no, once you understand the mind that realizes emptiness, then you realize the true nature of reality. It's like, anyhow, the fact is that the question is there a difference between the mind that realizes the true nature of reality and the actual true nature of reality? Yes, there is. So this is basically, actually this is very important. For us it may not seem so important because we don't have these other views, but when we start taking these other views into consideration, then this is actually a very important point. And then it continues saying, and to find out what one should do to search for the final mode of abidance, emptiness. This is the main point. So, once having, on that basis of the teachings which come from Buddha and its commentaries, one can check why such is feasible or unfeasible through one's own intelligence reasoning to see. Point number E, to find out what one should do to search for the final mode of abidance, emptiness. What shall I do to realize the true nature of reality? That's the main question that we should make and analyze and check and go for it. This becomes, what do you do in your life? Okay, I am a doctor, I am a lawyer, I work in a shop, whatever. This is not what I do. This is just my livelihood. What do you do in your life? I develop love and wisdom. That's what I do in my life. My goal is I must realize the true nature of reality. That's my goal before anything else, and develop a great heart full of love towards everyone. That's my goal, bodhicitta and shunyata. That's what I want. The rest, I don't care, Because what happened in life? We get together, we get married, we get separated, we have a new job, we lose the job, then we have another job, then people are rich, then we get rich, then get poor, and then it's one day like this, the other day like that. The one day the body is healthy, the other day the body is sick, the other day the body is healthy again, and then one day things go well, the other day things don't go well. That's life. But in all this process, what should do? We should use this whole process called life to develop love and wisdom. That's what I do in my life. That's what we should do in our life as an objective. Okay, all the rest is secondary. I have recognition, I don't have recognition. I live in a nice place, I don't live in a nice place. The job that I do I like, I don't like, whatever, I have many, many lives to do it again, don't worry. Okay? But the important thing is, what do I do with this life? And what's my main goal? Develop love and develop wisdom. That's the main objective of our lives. Okay. So, if one keeps a principle that accords with the thoughts of the victor, the Buddha, if one keeps a point of view, a view of reality that is in accordance with the teachings of the Buddha, with the thoughts of the Buddha, and if one researches the writings of the scholars, and if one studies and researches through all the commentaries of the great masters that came after Buddha, who had great familiarity with the immaculate discourses of the victor, and who unravel Buddha's thought, especially in the text of Nagarjuna and his spiritual son, he or she will then have the eyes of excellence. So if we keep coherence with Buddha's teachings, and we go and we analyze the teachings through the commentaries that were made, then we will have an eyes of excellence. We will see things in a coherent way. So this is the objective. And here, Lama Tsongkhapa is sharing with us the path. No one will realize the nature of reality like this. We need to analyze. We need to study. We need to read. We need to search. We need to meditate. We need to listen. Analyze. And then gradually, following a correct path, one day, slowly our mind will open, and then we will be able to see reality in a real coherent way and different from what is now. Okay. Now, this is an important point. All the points are important, but this is specifically something we need to reflect upon. Here follow the reason for adulterating the profound instructions. Why are the teachings being changed in time, not being kept purely? For two reasons here. Two approaches which are not correct. Some of those who want to remain absorbed into practice, in practice single-pointedly, consider the hearing of teachings and the thinking about them as an obstacle. So the first thing which is not correct is that some people think that the only thing necessarily is somehow to meditate. So enter into this meditative absorption, remain that as much as long. So to study, to learn, to understand many things, that's just an obstacle. That's just taking our inner space. We don't need that. All you need is to just absorb yourself within a meditative state and stay within that. That's all you need. There is no need of learning. There is no need of reflection. There is no need of understanding. All you need is to meditate. There are people that think in this way. So, this is one interference. The other one, and some of those who want to hear and think, some of those who want to listen to the teachings and want to reflect upon them from the very beginning, but they start with an idea of degrading others and not to seek a subject of meditation for one's own continuum. There are those that instead, they study the meaning of Dharma and the teachings of Buddha, and they analyze and debate about them and so on, not because they want to meditate upon it and tame their own defilements, but because they want to show that they are the best students and that they know the truth, and then somehow they can actually debate with others and show that they have the knowledge in their hands and the truth in their pocket somehow. But this is a wrong view. This is also another thing that completely degenerates the teachings. So they, due to the thought of obtaining a dry reputation, for example, wanting to be oneself a scholar, turn out to be extroverted beings and remain so because they lack meditation insight. Which means it's not enough just to listen and to comprehend. We need to meditate. And if someone may just want to be a great scholar, nothing. There is no point of being a great scholar if we will not apply that knowledge to our own mental continuum. Okay? It is thus why it is necessary to preserve the victor's doctrine, to preserve Buddha's teachings, by way of all three, which are hearing, reflecting, and meditating. We need to listen to the teachings, we need to read the text, we need to receive the information, we need to reflect upon it, comprehend it, and then we need to meditate upon it. As I try to make some distinction between what is appropriate to do and what is not appropriate to do, it looks like there are also some who say his mental continuum is still untamed. So, Lama Tsongkhapa here concludes saying, to keep the Dharma purely, we need to listen, to study, to receive information about the Dharma. We need to comprehend it, and we need to meditate upon it. This is very important. And what I have stated here in this text is just trying to make a distinction between what is an appropriate way of listening, comprehending, and meditating, and what is a non-appropriate way of listening, comprehending, and meditating. What is right and what is wrong. I just tried to do my best to make clarity between the two. But there are some that instead of listening well to what I have to say and analyzing together, they just see myself as being attached to my tradition and going against someone else. That's why they may say, oh, I have not yet tamed my own mental continuum. So I still am acting out of anger and attachment to my own tradition and aversion to others. But that's not the point. I'm just trying to make clear what is appropriate and what's not appropriate as a method for enlightenment. Okay? I think it's quite clear, right? So on our own path, the path is made by listening, comprehending, and meditating. These are the three steps that are fundamental on our path. Okay? Then now we have the answer 55 and 56. Tundam chobe rikshe gi tena namdo nelo sam ngowam shete nyeba te tongpa nitam dewo deshe gi nimpo lakshe kubeso dorna ludru luksangi tadan gawe tawate punso yonden gyaden she chidre chitsam jönayang tamche kemba tashogi tarpa tsayang midoche gombo kyoge katsepa dawe shabgi sheba shing lekpar sungshe talmo jor. Okay. Answer 55 and 56 by Panchen, Losang, Chokyi, Gyaltsen. When it is watched with knowledge of reasoning for analyzing ultimate truth, ultimate reality, the entity or the nature of the or the characteristics of conception is found. And I state respectfully that this is the emptiness of the Sugata Garva. Tundam chube rikshegi tena namdo ne Losang ngomo shite nyebade tomba nyite deshegi is nimbo lakshe kubesos. The concept here, Sugata Garva, means the one gone to bliss, which means Buddha. Okay? So basically it says, when analyzing with a correct reasoning for looking to the true nature of reality, and Tundam chöbe rikshegi tena namdo neluksam ngowan shite nyebate tongpa nitam deshegi ningpo lakshe kube suls. So, when analyzing with a correct logic and seeing the true nature of reality by eliminating any sort of misconception, then one is really finding the correct path to enlightenment, which means here, when it is watched with the knowledge of reasoning for analyzing ultimate reality. So when analyzing, what is this way of reasoning? Is observing, does reality exist as it appears or not? When we analyze it correctly, this way of analysis will find what? The nature, the entity, or the characteristics of conception is found. The nature of the mind, the nature of phenomena is found. And I state respectfully that this is emptiness, or the Sugata Garva. This is the actual emptiness. This is the actual state. Here is the actual. One second, let me just check the Tibetan. Tongpa nitam deshegi nimbo lakshe kubesols. This is the actual emptiness, or the essence of the Sugata Garva, the essence of the one gone to bliss, of going to bliss, of going beyond sorrow, going beyond suffering. In other words, it says, when you look at reality and you analyze if reality does or not exist as it appears, and you find out that reality does not exist as it appears intrinsically, then through these logics, you can understand the true nature of reality. And by that, you can reach to shunyata, you can reach to the state of going beyond sorrow, going beyond suffering, which means going beyond our own state of ignorance. In brief, with a tradition which contradicts the noble tradition of Nagarjuna, forget about omniscience. One will not even attain mere liberation, no matter how much one can describe how it possesses hundreds of ideal qualities, as mentioned by the Savior yourself, which means, in brief, from all that has been said, if you meditate on the true nature of reality, using a technique, using an understanding, meditating in a way that contradicts, that is not coherent or contradicts the way how Buddha have taught, and consequently later Nagarjuna have explained. I'm sorry, even though you may say that your meditation have many and thousands of qualities, it will not take you out of samsara liberation, and it will not take you to Buddhahood. Just as you, the great Savior Lama Tsongkhapa, you have explained this yourself. So I joined my two palms together to you, great Lama Tsongkhapa, for your good teachings as taught by Chandrakirti. Chandrakirti was a great master that explained the correct view of reality in accordance to the teachings of Nagarjuna, that explained it in accordance with the teachings of Buddha Shakyamuni. And Lama Tsongkhapa explained in accordance with the teachings of Chandrakirti. Basically, there is the text per excellence, let's say, of explaining emptiness by Lama Tsongkhapa is called Uma Gompa Rapsal, which means the clear explanations of the thoughts of the middle way, which is Uma Gompa Rapsal is a commentary of Uma Jukpa. Uma Jukpa is a text which means entering into the middle way, which is a text which was written by Chandrakirti. The text of Chandrakirti is a commentary of Uma Tsawa Sherab, which means the root of the wisdom of the middle way, which was written by Nagarjuna, which is a commentary of the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom, the Prajnaparamita Sutra, which was taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. So basically we have the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom, which was taught by Buddha Shakyamuni, which in the very, 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 very short version is the Heart Sutra. But normally this is the commentary on the 8,000 verses version. So we have the Sutra of the Perfection of Wisdom of Buddha Shakyamuni. Then there is a commentary on this sutra explaining it, which is called Umatsawa Sherab, which means the root of the Madhyamika or the middle way by Nagarjuna. Then there is a commentary on the text of Nagarjuna written by Chandrakirti called Entering into the Middle Way, entering into the meaning of what Nagarjuna explained actually. So we have Buddha Shakyamuni, Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, and then Lama Tsongkhapa. So when we study, when we look at the meaning of the true nature of reality, normally the lineage of texts, of explanations that we use to understand it is we go through Lama Tsongkhapa, that goes through Chandrakirti, that comments Nagarjuna, that comments Buddha Shakyamuni. That's how we go. Because if we go directly to Buddha Shakyamuni, it's quite difficult to get the meaning precisely for us, because it was taught in a different context. And like this, it goes to the other texts also. It's like one time I wanted to learn one text, I wanted to memorize one text. Not about emptiness, but written also a long time ago. I went to my teacher and I said, I want to memorize this text. And then he said, it's called the Jeba-Tönsil, the text. And then he said, your teeth are not strong enough to give this bite. They will break. Which means the text is too difficult for you to understand. Better go to the commentaries. So that's why very luckily we have these wonderful commentaries. So when we go through what's the best way, when here, for your good teachings as taught by Nagarjuna, what is the best way that we have to access the correct view of reality? We have Lama Tsongkhapa's explanation. There is a commentary of Chandrakirti. There is a commentary of Nagarjuna. There is a commentary of Buddha Shakyamuni. And we have this wonderful path, which is incredibly clear and coherent. Okay? So this is what we should follow. So it doesn't matter what is the name of the tradition that we give, how many thousands of qualities we say it has, if it's not in coherence with the teachings of Buddha Shakyamuni and in coherence with actually what reality is by analysis, then I'm sorry, it is not correct. Okay? So just the question was about the term Dewar Shekpa, which means to go beyond sorrow, to go beyond ignorance, to go to the state of happiness. Dewa means happiness. Shekpa means to go. And Tibetan language is an incredible language actually, because it's able to say so much in so little. So De means happiness, Shek means to go. So to go to happiness, which means to go beyond sorrow, to go beyond ignorance, to reach a state of permanent happiness. That's what this word also means. Bene. Okay. We're not going to start the next question now. Actually, I'm happy that we are on the conclusion of the text. Okay. The most difficult parts, we have gone through them all already. Now it's just a nice conclusion of the text itself. And in the beginning, it is saying like, but some people may say, all religions are the same, everything is the same, everything has the same taste. And then Lama Tsongkhapa says, is it really like that? Let's analyze it clearly. Okay? And are all the phenomena with the same taste? So is there no difference between positive and negative? There is no thing to think that something is good and something that is not good? So we goes through this analysis after. And then after it goes basically to the final conclusions and dedications. Okay? So we will conclude here today. And then on Saturday we'll have more time because I need to leave now because I am going to see my grandparents, basically, because they are in Italy and they requested me to go there and somehow need some respect also in this sense. So I just leave now. It's like 6 hours by car. And then I sleep there tonight. I stay the day of tomorrow with them, and then I come Friday. So hopefully Friday afternoon I'm here to do some teachings. If I'm not able to reach on time on Friday, then sure we have Saturday. We have a lot of more time to do that. And if we have or Saturday morning, we conclude the text. If not, Saturday morning and afternoon. Okay. So we'll do now the final dedication. Jetsmola me kotse raptenchi namkar chinle chochur gepadang Losang tempe drome sasumgi drove munsel talto ne gyurchi Nimo dele tsendele nime kuyan delekshin Ninsen taktu delekpe Concho sumki jingi lo Concho sumki ngodrup sol Concho sumki trashisho Trashidile